The Bookworms Radio, where we are all about the kids. I am Pamela Lawrence T. Irvin, educator, author, motivational speaker, and I will be your host for the next hour. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce my guest, my friend, Rogers Howard Jr., author, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and storyteller. Welcome, Rogers.
Thank you, Ms. Pamela Urban. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you for being a guest on the show today. So, the topic of conversation on the Itsy Bitsy Bookworms Radio, where we are all about the kids, will be your books, ABCs of Love, A Letter to My Daughter, and your forthcoming book, A Code to Manhood. So, Rogers, let's start with ABCs of Love. It sounds like ABCs of Love educates children how to love themselves, but also encourages them to love others as well.
I think that's about right on the head, Miss Pam. My purpose for writing the ABCs of Love, as you notice, is a book of character. And I want my babies to understand the value that they have as a young age and the character that they can present to help carry them through their life. And the ABCs of Love is basically a book stemmed on love through the ABCs. And each letter represents a character trait of what love represents. And with that, I feel like if we put that in our baby spirits young, they'll not only walk like that, they'll talk like that, and they act like that. So therefore, we can catch them at that base and put these influential character building traits in their spirit, they'll walk like that. And I give you a prime example. For letter A, love is affection. Love is brave. Love is caring. Love is dedication. Love is family. Love is excellence. And these are just simple principles that, even though they're big in action, but they can see it and emulate that through picture frames. And the book is basically a picture book with the text added to it to give it a simplistic format, because we're working with small children from kindergarten to third grade. This is the target zone for my book for this particular crowd. And with it, I want it to be simplistic to where they can see the illustration and the character word to match the illustrations, where they can see it, build their vocabulary, and learn some actions as far as expression at the same time.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with that. I think everything starts with the little ones, and as a preschool teacher, it's very important that we embed and instill positive characteristics in our children, because with that they will grow up and they will hold on to those things that they've learned in their early years. Early education is very crucial to our children, for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
yes, ma'am.
In addition to what you spoke of, this show of love can actually be implemented via utilizing kind words when speaking to other children, giving to other children less fortunate to themselves, and helping another child even with a task.
Yes, that's what it's based on, our babies understanding the principles of teamwork through love. So I look at love as a verb, meaning action word, and that's the principles of the book. Love is a verb, meaning action word. It's not what you're talking about, it's what you're doing. But in order for them to be able to do it, we have to show them. And in us showing them, they'll implement, they will copy that, and as you repeat it, it becomes habit. So if we keep feeding that in their system, they can't do nothing but eat and grow. So that's our job, is to make sure we keep them on a positive vibe, a positive energy, positive mindset, and let them know that the world is yours. The world is yours.
Absolutely.
There's nothing stopping you from being anything you want to be. And if we put that in their spirits young, it's nothing stopping our babies from across the country from being anything that they want to be. And I truly believe that. And as you know, Pam, we've worked the circuit together for over 2 years now, in the classroom, across the cities, in different places, and we're in the field. So we know how important it is putting this in our baby's spirit and letting them see and hear it from other voices outside of their parents and teachers.
Most definitely. I am all about assisting the little ones in developing a sense of self. And, you know, we speak a lot about children learning to become unapologetic as to who they are. So
exactly.
as educators, parents, caregivers, grandparents, it is up to us to definitely instill these things and to guide our children in the right direction of higher self-esteem and greater self-esteem. I'm totally on board with you with that. So at this time, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to ask all my listeners to go grab a pencil and some paper, because each time that you tune in to Itsy Bitsy Bookworms Radio, you're going to receive a lot of information. So go get your pencil and your paper and start writing. So
that's it.
Rogers, where can the listeners purchase your book?
The listeners can purchase my book on Amazon.com, Barnes & Nobles, all your internet outlets, or also you can reach me at www.rogershowardjr7, the number 7, at gmail.com, and you can place your orders to me directly.
Okay, fantastic. And how much does ABCs of Love cost?
The ABCs of Love is $9.99, and the letter to my daughter is $14.99.
Okay, so we're about to jump into A Letter to My Daughter. Now, Rogers, your book, A Letter to My Daughter, is a letter of love that you wrote to your daughter when you were afflicted with some medical issues?
Yes, yes.
Can you share a little bit about what was transpiring with you and what the book is about?
Okay, yes, I sure can. In 2012, I was diagnosed with a heart disease. And mind you, I was a mail carrier for 25 years for the government as an escort, basketball coach, active, ripping and running. I'm not obese, so I'm not overweight. So I had no signs that I had a heart disease. So out the blue, bam, I got a heart attack. I had a heart attack right out the blue. You know, God blessed me to where I'm living to talk about it now. But at that time in 2012, I got diagnosed with heart disease. I had a heart surgery, my first one. After my first surgery, I realized that maybe, a week or so after my surgery, I wasn't feeling right. I was physically fit, so I kind of knew my body. I was kind of in tune with my body, and I always listened to my body. So with that, I went back to my doctor, and I said, Doc, I know we've had this surgery about a week ago, but I'm still having complications that I feel I shouldn't be having. You know what I'm saying? And we talked about that. He said, well, I would like for you to go in and have another opinion and possibly see what's wrong. So my doctor explained to me that, anytime you go under the knife, you don't know if you're coming out of that. So this happens to be my second one. Mind you, my first surgery was in January. I talked to him about it and come to the realization that I needed another one in March. So we set the schedule for March to have my second surgery. Before my surgery, I wanted to leave something with my daughter just in case I didn't make it. Just leave a message to her to let her understand if Dad didn't make it, this is the blueprint I want you to follow to help you along your way, because this is what I think will help you, guide you through, just in case Dad's not there in the physical form. And the book will take you from the day she was born to her first day of college and all the expectations that I had for her, building her up to be able to go to college. So with that, it's just a book dedicated out of love for me to her, let her understand the value that she has, and regardless if I'm here or not, you have to perform. And this is my love to you to let you understand that the world is yours and go get it. If I'm here or not, don't be scared to face the world.
Wow, that is totally awesome. I am holding back tears because, I'm a tad bit emotional. So if you could read a little bit from a letter to my daughter, that would be great.
Okay, I tell you what, I'll start off with the opening of my letter to my daughter. And it starts out with this. The first time I saw you, laid eyes on you, I never thought, here we go, let me start off, I'm sorry. The first time I saw you, laid eyes on you, I knew you were the girl for me. I knew the guy had a plan for me to show you what a man should be. That first night home, I smiled all night long, knowing God chose me to protect you and keep you safe from harm. The next day I watched you sleep. Seeing how beautiful you are just makes me weak. And that's the opening page. And when you go to that page, it'll just give you the illustrations of her being delivered in front of us and her family and our family in the hospital room. So it's just kind of me thanking God for this opportunity that he's given me to have this young lady to guide and protect and watch over her, and just giving thanks to everybody involved, which is my family, God, and my daughter.
Wow, this is such a heartwarming story, Rogers. It sounds like this letter was written to be your spiritual voice that would help your daughter navigate through life in the event that you were not with her physically.
Correct. So, and it's something I want her to understand. I want her to understand that life goes on. We're not promised tomorrow. You know, and I was just blessed to be spared to be here as I am now. So I'm so grateful, and everything that I do have a meaning behind it. It's not just to be doing it, you know. It's to be able to bless someone else, let them see their potential, and teach them that, to show them the way.
So this being such an extremely personal and intimate time in your life, what made you decide to put it in a book for the world to read and not just a letter to your daughter for her to read in her eyes only? What inspired you to put this in a book for the world to read?
Well, for that was really, really simple. My whole life, God has always touched. I actually really knew what it was, but it was always something in the back of my mind that I had to do something to affect the world as far as children are concerned. So when I had this opportunity to come out of my surgery, thanking God and His mercy and grace that I'm still here today, I wanted to write about it and share it. So at that time, I was studying in class at Orson Valley for early elementary education. And I let my classmates, in the class of 30, I was the only male in my class for early elementary education. I was the only male out of 30 students, and I let my female peers read it and my professor. And when they read it, it broke them down. I mean, a lot of these women were hurt because of the message in the book. They were still feeling that as adults because they didn't have a father figure. So when I seen the emotions that came from that, they were telling me, RJ, I know this is for Asia, but I think every young lady should have this book to read to understand the value that they have. And that just kept me motivated to get out there and pass it along just to get a feedback. And the feedback was so overwhelming on an emotional side that the women were saying, well, you got to publish this. And that's what drew me to the position of getting out and publishing.
Wow. So that's really fantastic story, Rogers. I have something I'd like to share, but it is nowhere near the magnitude and the intensity of what you were going through with your heart condition and the uncertainty of whether or not you would actually be here for your daughter as she grew up. But I'm going somewhere with this at the end. So it wasn't a dire situation like you were experiencing, but when my Jasmine was about 3 years old, I took this cruise to the Bahamas and left her with my husband at the time and my mom. I recorded my voice on a tape recorder so that if and when she started to miss me, they could play the tape for her to listen to. So When I got back, my mom told me that she had to play that recording 1 trillion times. It seemed to brought comfort to my Jasmine. So, and I shared that to say, leaving something for your children is truly a heartwarming expression of love. a selfless act of love, because you leaving Asia the letter because you were dealing with uncertainty would allow her to have some comfort in her life, and knowing that you loved her enough to try to help her to navigate her way through life, whether you were there physically or not. So,
correct.
Is this, would you say that this is something that perhaps all parents should do if possible?
Well, I think to each his own. Everybody gets out for different reasons, but I think every adult and parent would love to be in a situation to leave them children something. If that's an inheritance, if that's whatever it is, to leave them a legacy, to have something to build on. Because that's what it's all about. We're as legacy makers and putting our babies in a position to be self-sufficient for the future. And we have to take that time out to show them that and teach them that and train them in that capacity, so when they do get of age, they're not intimidated. They can go out there and face it head on and have the confidence to go out there and knock it down. And that's what it's all about, giving our babies the confidence and the know-how, because when you know how to do it, you're going to have the confidence to act it out. So once we show them how to do it, they have the confidence to do it and be great at doing it, because I believe that they're great. So we have to keep pushing that in their spirit and showing them that by action.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. And I also repeat constantly to those who listen that we have to provide our children, the future, with the tools and necessities that they need in order to navigate their way through this life. And because they are the future, if we don't take the time as parents, grandparents, caregivers, educators, mentors, and such to help these children and give them what they need, there will be no future. These children are the future. And if they're not prepared, what a future there will be.
Yes, and that's why I'm loving what our young people today are doing, is standing up in the face of the NRA and the guns and the gun control. I love that, because our young people is making themselves heard, and that is extremely powerful, and I'm behind them 1,000%. That's what I'm talking about. So when you can put that in them and they see the difference and they come together in numbers and you can link up as a team, man, look out. That's all I can tell you. Our babies are going to make a difference, I'm telling you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with that statement as well. So where can the listeners purchase a letter to my daughter?
In the same outlet as Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble. You can get it on Kindle, or you can get it on Nook, Kindle ebook, Nook. Or like I said, you can hit me up on my www.rogershowardjr, the number 7 at gmail.com, or go to my Facebook page, Rogers Howard, or my IG, Instagram, RJLaker66. Shoot me something, and I can get it out to you that way also.
Okay, awesome. And the cost of that book is?
A Letter to My Daughter is $14.99, and the ABCs of Love is $9.99 on Amazon. But if you got with me directly, I'll be able to work something out for you and cut that in half somewhat, or give you a discount price. So I'll be able to work with who want to be worked with. So it's always a will is a way we can make it happen and get our books out there.
Fantastic. Okay, listeners, so did you hear that? I heard discount. Did you hear discount?
Yes, we got to. I don't mind doing that at all. You know what I'm saying? If you go to Amazon.com and let them know you listen to this radio station, 10% discount on anything that you order, and I got you.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much for that. So we're going to move on to your upcoming project, A Code to Manhood. Can you tell me a little bit about A Code to Manhood and what inspired you to write that? So first, tell us a little bit about The Code to Manhood.
Okay, I'm going to take you back and then bring you up to par. Okay. As you notice, my first 2 books are children books. I wanted to step out the box a little bit and reach an older audience age audience. And this audience base that I'm trying to touch with now is between 17 and 24. That's the base I'm trying to reach our young men to kind of give them some guidance. I got the inspiration to write the book from my good friend, Brother James Clark. I was at a speaking that he gave, and like you told us at the early segment, get your papers and pens out. So you know, Brother Clark, he's going to come with the knowledge. So he had everybody who was able to have paper and pen take notes. And I took notes. And when I got through taking the notes that he gave from his presentation, I came out with a memo. I came out with something that I thought would be powerful. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to take what I took from him, from his lecture that he told us to keep notes on, and I took my notes and I came to this format. So with that, The Code to Manhood is basically a book on us as men getting ourselves together. Because when you look at big picture, we're doing our jobs, but we're not doing our jobs the way we are capable of doing our jobs. I'll give you an example. Let me kind of read the intro to my bio. I wrote a blog on this, and I kind of touched base on it in the open segment to kind of let you see where I'm going with it, so you can kind of understand where I'm at with it, okay? So with that, so with the Code to Manhood, you got three types of guys. You got your boys from 1 year old to 16 that's under parental guidance, you know, legal guardian, whatever that status is. That's what we consider our young men as boys. From 18 and up, we consider those, Plan B, young men, self-sufficient. You don't need to get with your sister or your mom for a haircut. You're 18 years old. You're considered grown, and you're doing the things you need to do to be accountable for yourself as a young man. You got your boys, you got your men, and then you got what we call your grown dudes. And the difference between the boys and the grown dude is the boy is 16, and the grown dude is 36 doing the same thing the boy is doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's no real drop-off. He's being supported by the women that's supporting him. So with that, we have three categories of men. We got our young men, like I said, category A, our boys from infant to 16, where we got our guardianship watching over them. Then we have our young men 18 to adulthood, to where they're self-sufficient. They know how to get out there and be in control of their destiny and making it happen. Then you got a category of men that what we call the grown dudes that is just hanging on, you know, and they're just doing the same things like you said. Your little boy or your nephew's doing it, sitting in the basement at their mom's or grandma's house playing video, Nintendo, and not really being productive. So with that, what I wanted to bring light to was we as men, man, we are so beautiful and we are so what the world needs, but we have to show the world that we're accountable with that. So as being a man, these are steps that we have to take to show not only God, because that's what we have to answer to at the end of the day, but we also have to answer to the people here on earth that we love and care for, to nurture their spirit and show them what being a man is all about. And that's a step. That's a plan-by-plan process. That just doesn't happen overnight. Young boys are coached to be men. You know what I'm saying? They don't out the box know what it's like to be a man. A man has to train that young boy to be a man, to be able to look up and respect his mother, his elders, authority, himself, and others in order to grow. I give you a snippet of the book. In chapter 1, real men, we're talking about real men and putting that in our emphasis in our boys, have to understand, step 1, you have to have a spiritual balance. If you don't have a spiritual balance as a man, you're lost. It's no way you can survive in this world without God's influence, okay? That's what real men will always line themselves up with God and putting themselves in a position where God can lead him to lead his family. 2, real men. We're talking about men. We're not talking about little boys. We're talking about men. Real men will always have a spiritual impact, number 1. 2nd, real men will always have a job. I don't care if it's McDonald's, Boeing, whatever. A real man will always have a way of having an income to make himself worthy of what it is he's bringing to the table. I don't care what it is, good or bad. He's going to always find a way to try to make some money. But we always want to lead in the positive directions to lead that example again of what real men do. Have a spiritual balance, have a job, have some form of transportation. I don't care if you're catching a train. I don't care if you're riding a bike, a scooter, or you busting it with your boys or taking rides or whatever it takes to get to school, work, do what it is you need to do. You're going to make that happen. As men, you're not going to come up with excuses to not be where you can go to work, not be where you can be where you can get your kids to school, not be where you can do the things you need to do to make sure your family's in a situation to grow. So right off the top, Real men, one, will want to have a spiritual balance. Real men, two, will want to be in a situation where they can financially take care of themselves and their families. Real men, three, will want to be in a situation where they can have the transportation in order to be able to do that. Real men, four, will be in a situation where they always respect women regardless if they respect themselves. You didn't catch that. Real men will always respect women even though they don't respect themselves. And when I mean don't respect themselves, it's not a character flaw. It's just sometimes we see things different than women see things. You know, where you looking at it like, you know, I'm here doing my thing, and we looking at it totally different because we were brought up different. You know what I'm saying? So everything stems off household and how you were raised, and the brothers or the mothers in front of you laid the foundation down. Now, before I get too much deeper, I want to give a shout-out to the queens out there who wearing both hats, wearing mom and dad hats, because without you, this world would be nothing. Write that down. Without the women of this world would be nothing, because everything exists and revolves around the back of women. Write that down. The two strongest components in this country is the African-American sisters and the black church. Write that down. That's the two most powerful entities in the world right now. The African-American church and our African-American sisters. Those are the two most powerful components in the world. And when you put those two things together and you put the man in that to be oversight leader, man, sky's the limit. But we as men have to humble ourselves to understand our shortcomings, to listen to our sisters. Because they not dumb. They've been here, done that. If not for them, we wouldn't be existing. You know what I'm saying?
So
Rogers,
with that, I'm sorry. So, Rogers, you obviously agree with the famous words of the late, great James Brown. It's a man's world, but it would be nothing without a woman or a girl.
That's it. That's it. And that is so profound. But until we as men recognize that, we're going to be in trouble, because our sisters need us. You know what I'm saying? They need us, and we need them. So we have to partner up even more so now. And I take the great movie, The Black Panther. You know, The Black Panther was just an epitome of what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? You had a tribe that lived in this continent that, even though they were together, but they all had different views. They all didn't get along and see things the same. But when it was time to come together and make it happen, they all unified and made it happen, supporting each other, being there for each other to make each other strong. And we need to get back to those principles, but we as men have to lead the way to show the example. You know what I'm saying?
So let me just touch on what you were saying. Our baby boys, the tweens, 10, 11, and 12-year-olds, and teenage boys cannot truly even look themselves in the mirror and overtly say what they love about themselves or that they are loved. And this is very sad. It never ceases to amaze me. And it hurts me tremendously when I experience this during my reading tours. So my question would be, in your opinion, does this stem from them not being taught at an early age? This goes back to teaching our children early education, the value of themselves and who they are and their worth as an individual. Because without being taught your value, your worth, then how are they going to grow into strong, confident young men that will be able to not only provide for themselves but for someone else?
That's really important, and I got three answers to that. My first answer to that is we have to instill in our babies at a young age, and I love how you put that, Pam, so eloquently. We have to, one, let our babies know right off the top that they're extremely important, that their voice is important. Now, in my class, now mind you, my kindergarten class, I got 3 rules in my class. We got rules. It ain't options. We got rules. Rule number 1 is that my babies are extremely important. Their voices count, their thoughts count, and how they feel count. You know what I mean? So we emphasize that right out the gate, that you are extremely important. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, You are extremely intelligent, extremely intelligent. Don't let no one make you feel you're not, because you're different, because you're quiet, or you might be a little outgoing, or you might be a little rowdy, or you might be a little shy. That's okay. That's your personality. Don't let anybody make you feel like you're inadequate because you're not what they think you should be. You're extremely intelligent. You know what I'm saying? But when I tell my babies rules 1 and 2, that you're important, rule number 2, that you're intelligent, none of that means nothing if you don't apply rule number 3. My babies, Mr. Howard, what's rule number 3? Rule number 3 is this. If we don't work out the spirit of kindness, we're not going to make it. If we don't work out the spirit of kindness, we're not going to make it. So therefore, we're going to work out the spirit of kindness so we can make it. Meaning that the aura that you kick out will be the aura that you receive. See, we don't have time for bad attitudes, because bad attitudes are like flat tires. Until you change them, you're not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So we got to instill in our babies, you know what I'm talking about. So we got to instill in our babies the importance that they have, because they got a job to do too. See, I'm one of those guys. I'm a former drill sergeant. So for me, I don't have room for a lot of excuses. You know what I'm saying? And we can't give our babies excuses. This is what we need. This is what's expected. These are the tools we got to get it done. We're going to get it done. And it won't be off memorization. It'll be off know-how. So once we put those things in their spirit, they're going to want to learn how to be mechanically inclined with their hands, to be a thinker, to be able to do out there and get out there and push their ideas and their thoughts and not be ashamed of that, because they're stronger than who they are and how they feel about themselves. So if we put that in them, they cannot lose. But everything stems off rule number 3, kindness. Kindness. Kindness.
For sure. I think that's something that right now, at this moment in the world, we lack tremendously. There's definitely a deficit in the actions of kindness at this point. So where can the listeners pick up A Code to Manhood once it is completed and ready to be placed on the shelves?
My editor is working out the final kinks of it now. She's on maternity leave, so we're kind of waiting after she had that blessing, and then we'll get back full throttle. So we're looking for that to come out early June, you know, and then from there put it out there in the same capacity that we have everything else through Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, the whole gamut, the routine. And with that, be a stepping stone, or like a blueprint to how we get there. And it's a 10-chapter step, and every chapter is about evaluation. So it's from 0 to 100. And in school, what was failing? On a scale of 0 to 100, what was considered failing?
Right.
50% was considered failing. 60% you barely passed. 60% is a D. You know, so if I'm critiquing myself right now off my blueprint of the Code to Manhood, I would categorize myself as a 70, because I'm not all the way there. I still got things in my life that I want to better myself with, to be able to reach that plateau of a 10 for 10, even though there's no such thing as perfect, but you want to be close to perfect as possible. So when you put your resume out there and you look at your partner, a potential partner, what woman, and I'm going to kind of highlight what I'm talking about, what woman you know, Pam, wouldn't want a God-fearing man, a man with a job, a man that can take care of the dinner and home safely, a brother that respects her, a brother that respects her children. Now, these are the chapters that's going through the book I'm kind of running through. That respects not only her, but also respects children, then respects the law. You have to respect the law. You may not like the law, but you have to respect the law. So with that, real men understand that. You know what I'm saying? So with that, a God-fearing man, a man with a job, transportation, loving you and respecting you for a woman, respecting and loving children, respecting and loving, respecting the law, respecting education and getting the education, because all these things I touch on in the book. And also, once you get your education, learning what you've learned and bringing it back to the hood, to where now you can teach the hood what you know and put the little ones on to now you giving them a job and you putting them in positions to where now they can see you and have you as a marker to guideline themselves on, because you grew up in the same block they grew up in. They watched you grow up from high school to college graduate to business owner to come back to the hood to put up a general store, clothing store, and everybody's going to rock with you because they grew up with you. So when you bring all that back home, I'm
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so when you bring that all back home, that's the perfect example of what any man or any woman would want in a partner.
Right, exactly. I can't think of anyone that wouldn't want someone like that as a partner. I mean, that would be totally awesome and amazing.
And I think that's something both men and women want. You know, someone that's dedicated to what it is that they're doing. And it's just, I'm sorry.
No doubt about that. You're absolutely correct. So how much, do you have any idea as to the price point?
I think this one would be anywhere from $10 to $12 bucks. It's not, I think this one would be, I want to say anywhere between 10 to 12. I'm kind of throwing that around now.
Okay, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. And I just like to make mention, we mentioned the name James Clark earlier in the
Yes, that's my man. That's my man.
As well, I'm so on board with him. For those of you who may not know who Mr. James Clark is, he is the president of community relations for the Better Family Life. This gentleman, and hopefully at some point I can have him on as a guest, but this gentleman is all about helping the kids. He takes a holistic approach. He helps the children. He helps the parents. He helps, the grandparents, anybody that's involved in a family setting. This man works tirelessly to get people to love themselves, to see the value in themselves, to see their worth, and to just start loving each other and stop the violence, and specifically the gun violence. Stop harming each other and look towards each other for kindness and love. He is the absolute epitome of just greatness. So with that, on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back at you.
All right.
Thank you, and welcome back to Itsy Bitsy Bookworms Radio, where we are all about the kids. We're coming back at you with the guest for today and my friend, Rogers Howard Jr. Hey there, Rogers.
Hey, Miss Pam.
So, the next question that I have for you, before we went to the break, that was very intense, I must say.
We kind of running with it.
To the code to manhood. So the next question I have for you would be, does writing exhaust you, excite you, or both? Because the code to manhood is really deep. So I just wanted to know, does that the writing process of all your books, not just the Code to Manhood, but ABCs of Love and A Letter to My Daughter, does that, the writing exhaust you, excite you, or exhaust and excite you at the same time?
it kind of exhausts and relaxes me at the same time. I guess it kind of depends on the mindset that I'm in at the time. I work better at night, meaning 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning. That way I have no distractions. I don't have no phone calls. I don't have no emails or anything. So I work better at night. So for me, my principles are quietness, intensity when I write, and just giving myself the opportunity to hear myself think and grow, you know?
I work best at night, too, when the house is quiet and everybody is in their respective corners, as I refer to it.
Right.
So,
right, I'm the same way.
So, do you think that your writing is a kind of spiritual practice for you? Do you think it's something spiritual within you?
I would like it to have that kind of impact, because it comes from a spiritual place. It comes from the heart. And I believe that when God puts something in your heart and you share that with the world, that's powerful when it connects. So I think that's where I come from with it, from the heart, and just trying to be in a situation where I can bring positivity to others and positive energy to others through my words.
So with that being said, what advice do you have for other writers?
Believe in yourself and know that you can do it. You might have a crowd of people telling you, you can't get this done. That's impossible to do. Yes, you can. Dedicate yourself. Make some time, because that's the hardest thing to get started. You got to dedicate some time, like you dedicate for work, like you dedicate for anything else that you're doing. You have to dedicate a little pocket time for just that. And once you get in the habit of doing that, it becomes routine. But you have to start maybe 15 minutes a day. That 15 minutes to turn to 30 minutes. That 30 minutes to turn to an hour. And you cap yourself out for that slotted hour. From 9 to 10, this is my writing time, uninterrupted. And you let that be the guidelines to get you to where you want to go, to where it becomes a little more natural for you. Because writing, I hear people say, I got writer's block, and that is so true. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to write it, sit it down, come back, and hit it again. You know what I'm saying? So it comes and goes,
Right, I agree with that. And also, if I could interject, I tell people, when you're writing, don't try to focus on the perfections of writing. Go through it. Don't worry about question marks per se or periods. The punctuation aspect. Just write and keep writing. And when you stop, you can go back and then you can take care of those particular aspects of writing. But while you're in the moment, just keep writing. Just let it flow. With the important thing is just to purge yourself of what it is that you want to put on paper, that you would like for other people to read.
Yes, that's it. That's it right there, Pam. That's it.
So, okay, do you have any friends that are authors? And if you do, does that make you a better writer?
I think when you're around creative people, that makes you better, because you want to be able to surround yourself with people that's like-minded like yourself to bring out the best in you. So I think when you surround yourself with creativity, you automatically get creative. So I think the key is surrounding yourself around people that believe in things like you, doing the things that you're doing, and networking. Networking is everything, man. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can't get out there once you get it done and push it, you just got a book. You know what I mean? So it's more to it than just writing it and getting it done. The hard part now is the getting out and promoting and marketing end of it. So with that, you have to put your hat on and know that I got to do this, and this. Then I got to come back and do this, and this. And it's a process. You're not going to do everything in a night. You're not going to do everything in a week's time, or maybe even a month's time, because we as writers, a lot of times we're at the mercy of other people's availability. You know what I mean? So me not being an illustrator, I'm at the mercy when my illustrator has the availability to get to my project. So with that, we have to surround ourselves with like-minded people that network and feel on the same accord that we're on, and building our future and our brand through books and authors and writers and supporting each other. We're not like we're musical musicians and we get out there and, we got the convenience center packed, 15,000 listening to our music. Books are a little different. You know what I'm saying? If you're not in that arena, you're not really paying too much attention to it. But as far as us as writers, we pay attention to everything with our art and how we do it. So we want to surround ourselves with like-minded people to put us in the know-how to get out there and make decisions, good decisions that'll help us along the way.
My mother used to always say to me, birds of a feather flock together. So
that's right.
That definitely has some validity to it. When you are with like minds, it tends to bring out the creative flow because you bounce off of one another. It's like, oh, yeah, you said something, and then that opened the door for something creative to transpire. Or you see an illustrator that has illustrated something, and then you say, wow, well, you know what? Maybe we could, modify this a little and make it like this and make it like that. So all the while, you guys, that energy, that creative energy is in the room, and you're bouncing back and forth, from one another. I totally agree with that.
Yes, that's an awesome feeling, Pam. That's awesome. That's awesome. And to my writers, write like you talk. I wanted to say, Pam, to my writers out there, write like you talk. There's no such thing as perfection. Like Miss Pam said, you can always go behind and clean it up. But I advise all my kids and people that's under me that I help produce and write books, write like you talk. And that'll take care of itself.
Okay. Be yourself in all that you do, and that includes your writing process.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's right.
So how long on average does it take for you to write a book?
Depending on the word count, it could take anywhere from 3 months to 6 months.
Okay.
And with that time frame, it just depends on the availability of my editors and illustrators at the time and what we're doing and how many projects you might have in front of the ones that we're working on. So if I have 2 or 3 projects in front of me and say, Ms. Pam, you want a project done with me, I have to evaluate where I'm at with my first 3 and be able to get with you to give you a time frame to get it done in the way that you would like to have it done in the professional manner that you want it done. So you have to be able to give yourself time to not only think it through, because it's not a rush process. This is your baby. This is your project. So with that, you want it to be the best that you want it to be. And sometimes that takes time. It doesn't happen in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? You got to give yourself time to think it through, lay it out, give yourself a blueprint, promotion, and marketing plan after you have your book, and execute. So that takes time.
Absolutely, because what you present to the world is a reflection of yourself. So if you present some messiness, then that's what the world is going to perceive you as, a messy person.
Correct. We want to stay out that lane. Correct. So we want to give ourselves the chance to we want to give ourselves the time, the opportunity, the chance to give us the best project possible. Nothing happens overnight. So with that, you want to give yourself the room to grow and learn also. You want to learn the process as you go. You just don't want to put it together and write it out there. If you don't learn to know what you're doing, it doesn't benefit you in the long run.
So what do you like least about writing?
What do you like? I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
What do you like least about writing?
What do I like least about it? Not being able to come up with the ideas when I'm ready to come up with them. You know how you want to be and you got your mindset, okay, I'm going to dedicate this hour to putting it down, and you just can't come up with nothing. That's writer's cramp. That's you come up with that where you want to put it together and you just don't have it at that time. That's the hardest part for me, is sometimes being inspired to write what I want to write and not being able to do it when I'm ready to do it. Just
that writer's block that rears its ugly head.
Its ugly head. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that sometimes.
So, what does literary success look like to you? You could say that you were successful in this. What would that look like? What is that to you? Is it selling millions and millions of books, or what is it, literary success to you?
Well, actually, when my first book was published, I was happy as a lark to get my author's copy and couldn't care less if I sold the book afterwards or not. Just to be able to see my vision from step one to final product, man, you couldn't tell me nothing. When they told me I was going red, Pam, I was screaming to the top of my lungs. That was a feeling that you could never imagine. You know what I'm saying?
You can't explain it.
You can't explain it. You can't explain it. You cannot explain it. When they tell you, Pam, you about to go red, that's a feeling that's just euphoric. It is just unbelievable. So I didn't have to sell a book afterwards, and I was happy. I got my point across. I got my legacy piece with my daughter, hands on, and I'm good. You know, that was the initial thought. But as I got into the business aspect of it and seeing where it can take you, I put more time into studying behind that to make it to where I can get out and do the things on the circuit that I'm doing now.
If you had to do something different in order to make you become a better writer or perhaps even become an author earlier on in your life, what would it be, if anything?
Ooh, that's a hard question, Pam. That's a hard question. Come back to me on that one, Pam. Come back to I have to think about that. I can't just talk off the top of my head with that one, Pam. I got to get out a little thought. Come back to me on that one. Okay?
I know that does make you ponder. It really does. So, okay, I'm going to come back at you with, what was your favorite children's book growing up?
Oh, no doubt. Dr. Seuss, you know what I'm saying? Cat in the Hat. That's what we grew up on. You know what I'm saying? So Dr. Seuss, Cat in the Hat, My Three Pigs, you know, those were just common books that we read, and those were the books that we read that I happen to enjoy. But I like comics. I like a little bit of everything, you know. So for me, I enjoy reading sports books, magazines, you know what I'm saying, about my favorite heroes at that time, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, you know what I'm saying, Michael Jackson. You know, people like that, I would love to get the magazines and read about them opposed to reading children's books. When I was young, reading children's books wasn't really important. You know what I mean? I would read and then go out and play football all day. You know what I mean? It wasn't really an emphasis until I got older. And when I got older and started learning the importance of what it meant, that's when I started taking it seriously. You know what I'm saying? So in my younger years, Cat in the Hat, all that was great. But my emphasis at that time was sports and having fun. You know, I wasn't really keyed in. I wasn't that good student at that age. You know what I'm saying? I was a knucklehead. You know what I mean? Do what I had to do and come on home. And playing and football and sports was everything at that time. But as I got older, my parents, as I got older and started realizing what life is all about, those things and those visions changed. But as a child, 7, 8 years old, lady girl, I was about playing football with my boys all day. And if I picked up a book to read, it was great, you know what I mean? But when I did read, it was Cat in the Hat and stuff like that in the 70s and 60s, you know. I'm old school.
Well, true. It's about a maturation process. You have to mature into yourself. So
right. Because I was a bad little girl, you know. I was bad.
Not you.
I was a bad little boy, you know.
Not angelic you. With that being said, the next and final question: are you part of any local organization?
Oh yes, I'm part of a beautiful team, Pam, and I'm sure you're aware of it. The St. Louis Black Authors, headed by President Julius Anthony and Ms. Kelly Bird. You know what I mean? We got a beautiful team along with Pre-K 3 Read, and our team is awesome. St. Louis Black Authors, come check us out.
Okay, so you heard it from Mr. Roderick Howard Jr. himself. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show today. It was a great time. I appreciate it.
Yes, I thank you, Pam.
You're quite welcome. And I would like to give a big shout-out and thank you to all of my listeners. Please tune in next week for information that I'm sure that you can use. Parents, let your children know that they were born to win, and make uplifting your children a part of your daily routine. And if you would like to be a guest on Itsy Bitsy Bookworms Radio, please email me at itsybitsybookworms.2016@yahoo.com. And real quickly, Rogers, if you could let everybody know just one more time where they can connect with you and purchase your book.
All right. Thank you once again, Pam, for having me in the audience at large. And you can purchase my books, The ABCs of Love, and a letter to my daughter again on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, eBooks, Nooks. You can reach me at my Facebook page, Rogers Howard, or you can reach me on my Instagram handle, RJLakers66. My email address is www.rogershowardjr7@gmail.com, and you can leave your information and you can order to me directly there, and I'll take care of you with that discount we talked about. You mentioned, Pam, and I got you on the 20% discount.
Thank you so much. It's totally awesome. May the Most High watch between you and me when we are absent from one another. Have a lovely day. Peace and love.
You too, Pam. Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you.
And thank you.